What do you do if you have a steering failure while you're out sailing? Hi, Captain Jeff from the Sailing Academy. We go through a series of emergencies at sea, and this is one thing that happens often. Not super often, but over the last several years, there are many times where I've had to bring a boat in that had a steering failure, and you have to figure out how to steer it back to port. In fact, just last week, I was teaching an offshore sailing class between the Chesapeake Bay and the Bahamas. And about halfway there, the student who was at the helm started spinning the wheel and yelled out, "We have no steerage, it broke." And nobody knew what to do. And one of the other students said, "Should we call the Coast Guard?" And I said, look, what are we going to ask the Coast Guard? What toppings they want on their pizza? They're there for emergencies. If something happens, like there's an imminent loss of life or imminent loss of vessel, that's when you call a mayday for the Coast Guard. But we were safe. The boat was floating. We had plenty of food. We were nice and warm. And we just had an issue that we needed to fix. It was not really an emergency. So we wanted to go through the process of how to fix it. We were about 60 miles offshore, so we were able to get our boat, use the emergency procedures, get our boat headed towards shore, navigate into an inlet, get the needed parts we needed to fix the problem, and we were back out to sea within about 12 hours. Anyway, we're going to go through the emergency procedures, what you should do if you do lose steerage on your yacht. Every yacht should come with an emergency tiller. So locate the emergency tiller before there's a problem. Find out where it's stowed on the boat. It should be in a lazarette or a cockpit locker that's nearby where your binnacle is. The binnacle won't do any good if there's a steering failure, so you're going to have to find that emergency tiller. Let's take a look for ours right now. So in the aft lazarette on this boat, it's sitting right here. I just reach down and grab my emergency tiller. It should look something like this. And then you're going to find out where to put it in. Usually there's a deck plate or a hatch you have to open up for this to go directly over your steering column. So this emergency tiller is going to bypass all the steering mechanisms, from the wheel to the sprocket to your chain to the quadrant, and it's going to go right into your rudder post. So once you've located your rudder post, this should fit down right over top. And now you'll notice that I can move it back and forth, and I can steer the yacht. I'm back under control. I can bring it back into harbor. So once you're in harbor, then you can worry about getting the extra pieces you need, or have a marine tech go ahead and fix the steering for you. Now, if you're doing long-term cruising, there are some spare parts I'd recommend that you bring with you, so you can fix it yourself when you get to a safe location. Primarily, it's going to be the steering cables. There's a chain and cable set that you can buy as a spare part with each one of your steering systems. So this wheel is turning a shaft. The shaft goes from the wheel inside this binnacle. On the shaft is a sprocket. On the sprocket is a chain. The chain is spliced into wires. The wires go through sheaves and make a turn. They go through another set of sheaves and make a turn. And then they go to a quadrant. The quadrant is bolted to your rudder post, and that whole system is what turns your rudder. Now, every piece of that system can fail, but for long-term cruising, I do recommend bringing an extra set of steering cables with you. Those steering cables will be on a chain, and that's something that you can replace yourself if you have a little bit of mechanical skills. Now, be careful, follow the directions, and do it correctly. I've known guys to put new cables in and hook it up backwards, so you steer one way and the boat turns the wrong way. So make sure you follow the directions and hook it up correctly. But that's a good thing to have with you. It's good to put in your spare parts kit. Then if you navigate back to a safe place or a protected harbor or anchorage, then you can go ahead and fix it yourself. So the latest incident with us in our story is that we were able to bring it in and get the parts fixed and continue on our journey within about 12 hours. But if it's ever happened to you, would love to know. Put it in the comments before if you've ever lost steerage, and then also make sure you have that emergency tiller handy in case you ever do. So this is the first video in our Emergencies at Sea series. Like the video, then follow us to hear more tips of what to do when things go wrong while you're out sailing.